Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Storm Collectibles Darkstalkers DEMITRI figure. And this one's one of their better releases in a long time. It has much leaner proportions than we normally see. We usually get the real blocky builds from these guys, and I think this one, they went out of their way to make it relatively lean and source accurate. So I'm very, very pleased with that. There's a lot of good stuff going on with this guy. A couple things that we should probably talk about though, so let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands to the top of his head just about 8 1/4 inches, and that's going to make him pretty close to, let's say, 21 centimeters. And before we get into the rest of the review, let's do a quick question of the day. Which color scheme of DEMITRI do you prefer? The P1 color scheme here, or the arguably more popular P2, or whatever P it is, color scheme here with the darker blue and darker red? I always thought this was P1 until this figure came out and I had to do research and found out that this tealish gray was P1, so I prefer that. But maybe those of you who are more into Darkstalkers will prefer the grayish blue P1 color scheme, so you guys can let me know about that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the aesthetic. I love how lean and properly built he is. Like this guy's built like a proper superhero slash supervillain slash comic book slash video game character. There's a lot going on here that's very nice. Muscular thighs, skinny waist, big shoulders, big chest, appropriately sized head, properly lengthed, that's not a word, arms. It's very well done, very well executed. He doesn't look too bulky like a lot of the Storm Collectibles figures do. He doesn't have shading throughout the light blue or this light red at all. In fact, I don't think there's shading anywhere on this guy, which does detract a lot from the figure. He does look fairly plasticky as a result, although I will say the matte finish goes a long way to make him look good. And we do get the detail work here in like the little buttons and the cuffs in here. They painted the inside of his vest or whatever you want to call it, so that's good. The cape being two-tone is well executed. Like, the stuff that is there is good, but I do think it would have been nice to get a little bit of shading on there, so that's a bit of a bummer. I do like the sculpt work for the torso, although I will say that having the pectoral muscles up here being up higher than the pectoral muscles underneath them, the red ones actually sit lower than the blue ones, which doesn't make any sense. The blue ones should be at least even with them since it's just clothing on top of a person. That does look a little bit weird, and maybe I can adjust that, so I won't worry about that too much, but it seems to me that there's a little bit of a weird thing going on there. Hardly a big deal though. Looks good, head looks good, face is a good face sculpt for him, I think. Although I will say Storm does tend to make the faces a little bit too big for the heads. The eyes are really wide, and the faces are large. So it could be better, I think, but at certain angles it looks really good, and I don't think it'll be super noticeable once posed. But this head actually shows it off really well. That his face is smaller on the laughing or whatever head that is, and it looks better. There's more head around the face, so it looks good. But looks good either way, so I'm okay with that. Definitely could use some shading in the hair. He does have a very 2D look to him because he doesn't have any shading. He's very flat looking. Still a good looking figure, though I'm going to go 8 out of 10. I love the sculpt work on this guy. It's very, very nice, and what paint is there is super clean. Okay, as far as accessories go, we do have the stern face that comes on him in the package. We get one angry face with the teeth showing, and we get the one laughing face, which is awesome. I love the laughing face. For the hands, we get the 2 fist hands that come on him in the package, and then we get 3 different sets of style pose hands. Those are all very nice. We get 2 energy effects. One is the bat, one is the big fireball. Both very nice with the translucent plastic, and then the little bit of orange shading on there. That's cool. And we get 1 stand with a variety of uprights that can peg into different places on the stand at different heights to hold the energy effects. I think that's pretty good. I don't think there's too much else we really need. Obviously, there's always more you could have for a fighting game character, but I think this is a good assortment. So I'll go 8 out of 10. It's a good batch. I like it. All right, let's talk about the articulation. It's our standard Storm ball peg that goes from the neck all the way down to the torso, so you can lean the head side to side at the neck. That's not super useful, but the head does move around on the top of the neck pretty well. The cape gets in the way a bit, but I think it'll be okay. You should be able to pose him well enough. Shoulders, we don't have as much of the extra range that we normally see with Storm because of the blue shirt, but it does move with the arms a little bit. There is the standard ball hinge, and then the peg that goes into the body goes in fairly deep, which allows the whole arm to move around, and that's pretty good. Raising the arm up, you get better than horizontal. I like that. Full rotation, of course. Little bit loose there, not floppy at all, but not too much resistance. That part feels good. That's what she said. The rotation is fine there. Double jointed elbow. Only a little bit better than 90, so that's a little bit limiting, but not too bad. The wrists are on ball hinges, and they work nicely, and the cuffs will move with them, so that's good. For the torso, for the upper torso, we have a ball peg, which actually works really nicely. He leans back very well. That's good, I like that. And leaning forward, yeah, that's pretty good too, on just that top ball peg. And then leaning side to side, it's a little tricky to do, but he does that. This guy's really well executed. The character design lends itself to it, but still, that's nice. I like that. Of course, you get your rotation there. Nothing's too stiff or sticky or tight or anything. That's good. Everything's moving pretty well, if not a little bit too well here, but it's not a problem. And we do get another ball peg down here with even more range. Leaning forward, leaning back, leaning side to side, and rotating. This might be one of their best executed figures yet. Let's see how the hips work. Going out to the side, almost full on splits. That works really nicely. That's pretty good. Not loose. Going forward, just better than horizontal. I like that. Going backward, they go pretty far back. They stretch the butt cheek on the diaper, but it works. Nothing feels loose again. It's not tight as I might like it, but it's not too loose, and it's definitely not too tight, so I'm pretty pleased so far. Thigh swivel is barely there. There's almost no thigh swivel. For the knee, we get a double jointed knee, just better than 90. That could be worked out a little better. It does look good, but that can definitely have better range. They could definitely work on that design. For the ankles, let's see what they did. Well, let's use this one. Going back, we get really good range. Wouldn't need more than that. Going forward, they still don't give us any forward motion. And it looks to me like they just need to cut more away here. So I think they need to sacrifice a little bit of the aesthetic for the posability, because not being able to move the foot forward does limit posability quite a bit. Toe hinge is acceptable. Nothing great there. Ankle rocker is pretty good, a little bit loose. We definitely need to have more of this plastic removed at the top to allow the foot to go farther forward. That's the biggest problem with this guy, actually, as far as articulation goes. The neck being limited is understandable due to the collar, but the rest of it works really well. I mean, the elbows could have better range, I guess, same thing for the knees, but that's fine, that's whatever. The ankles definitely could use more range, but I'm still overall very pleased with that. I'm going to give that an 8 out of 10 because this torso section works really well, like really, really well. So this guy's a strong release, one of their best, I think, so I'm definitely going to have to recommend it. I'm going to give this guy an overall rating of 9 out of 10. It's definitely one of Storm's best, a little bit more paint, a little bit of tweaking in the articulation here and there, and I think we have a super duper winner, but as it is, it's just a pretty super winner. So if you're into Darkstalkers or cool figures or Capcom or whatever, I'm going to say you should pick it up. It's one of their best, it poses well, looks good, the proportions are really nice, it's photogenic. I think you guys are going to enjoy this one a whole bunch, so make sure you get one while you can. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos almost every single day, and thousands already on the channel, so make sure you come back for all of that. In the meantime, keep collecting.